Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the World Tactical Racing League WTRL Gravel Series. We're on the race number 3. I'm over at WTRL.racing, and there is 2 events done. We are looking at James Hodges, Dave, currently leading things out. I'm Nathan Garrett, Dave Toll next to me, coming at me virtually out of Colorado. And he's at 129.34. Almost an unexpected, kind of coming out of the woodwork all of a sudden. I mean, James Hodges has been around for a really long time in the Zwift racing world, but seems like a lot of motivation coming from Mr. James already.
Yeah, one of the what you call OG racers out here. It's nice to see him back and in full effect. The guy that I'm really looking for is David Pacheco today, the Portuguese rider. This format, racing on gravel, is a lot of fun. It's bringing out some new talent. That's for sure, Nathan. We're starting to see the fields grow. On the women's side of things, a lot of the usual suspects are back. It's going to be great racing out there today. We're at the Jungle Circuit, 29K. It's going to be 3 laps, 3 circuits. I can't wait. This one's going to be a good one today.
Interesting enough, actually, the men's racing is also starting to grow. I am seeing Wildlife Generation jumping in here. James Bevan has jumped in here as well, it looks like. We've got plenty. David Pacheco, like as you said, it does look like the current series leader with a time of 129.34, almost a full minute ahead of the rest of the pack. And what I find really interesting about this, let's go ahead and jump right on with the racers as the men start to take off. The women still have about 5 minutes or so before they will be taking off out of the pens. But something that I find super interesting here is that the time gaps are definitely very different racing out on the gravel than we usually get. You know, a lot of times we see sprints to the line. A lot of people say, oh, Zwift racing, it's just a big pack sprint all the time unless there's a ton of climbing on a mountain or something like that. But this has seemed to kind of break things up in a very different way where you have more tactics, breaks that'll happen, chases that try to get formed. And I think today it's not going to be any different. I think we might see a little bit more tactics so as it's a larger group, so more bodies to work with.
I love seeing this field. It's nearly doubled in size from last week. So clearly the people are getting the memo out there. WTRL does a tremendous job. So as we get things going here, Nathan, as you noted, both the men and the women, it's typically been our winner has been alone or in maybe a group, certainly less than 5 riders heading into the last 5K. So the selections have been dramatic. This is Alec Cowan, the Canadian that we're looking at. Heads up. From in real life racing, this guy is a monster. So, okay, that's a nice name, and it's a new name to see out here. We've seen his teammate Cormac McGeoch racing quite a bit, the Irishman. But here we go. The Canadian now on that Wildlife Generation team is here. That's a game changer.
A little bit of push off the front here from Sanchez from Zwift España, and then it's going to be on the front again. Another rider. It looked like it was the Rockets rider now. A little bit of a kick already at the tax taking off, it looks like. And this is the way to make things happen out on this gravel series. The second that you hit the dirt, it does slow things down a little bit. It does give you some opportunity, and there is a rider giving a little bit of a dig off the front. We'll see if we can find exactly who this rider is. Another rider looking to follow things up, and it does look like it's going to be Tor2K Callis, actually, one of the in real life pro teams making a move, and then it's going to be Seb there coming on through with Ram Racing and Seb from Dirt BC. So 3 riders already on the attack into the downhill, interesting enough.
Oh, Nathan, this is the one time in my life that I would say, who's the poor guy on the Tron bike? Because, I mean, normally that's an absolute gift from the heavens. But out here, you're going to see that, and I saw our friends at WTRL put a post out saying you really want to get in the garage and make sure you've got the right bike. I mean, Nathan, you've talked about it quite a bit. It makes a massive difference what bike you're on out here. This is not a day for the 808s and the disc.
Not at all, and you definitely are going to need a mountain bike or a gravel bike because they travel faster out on the dirt. So the bikes in game do matter for the terrain that you are on. It does look like Barclay here from Ram Rockets here, closing things right on down. Nico then as well from Ram Raiders. So solid efforts here. And look at just spreading things out immediately. The attacks are just nonstop at the front of this race. We're only 4 minutes in, and already it's stringing out here, Dave.
Yeah, there is no question that this racing here, this new league that we have, suits the aggressive rider. Look how many guys are getting their tickets punched out there right now, Nathan. This is so rare to see. Only 3.3K in, and they are making a dramatic selection out here. So, again, the bike makes a big difference. Nathan, I don't care if we put Geraint Thomas on a Tron bike. I don't think he could win in this field. It really is a massive difference that it makes. And here we go. These guys have already taken this group down to, I'm going to say that's about 30 riders in the front group now.
Yeah, very quick selection happening. It is because of that guy on the back there. It looks like Hodge is making a little bit of a push early on, and then there was a counter coming in from a couple of the riders, including Reese Barclay there. So solid move there coming from the pack to break things up early. And as you said, tickets punched. You can see a few riders already trying to straggle their way back. They might make it back here on the climb. You can see there's a fight going on back here. James Bevan, the classic sprinter, has made it here. We'll see if Bevan can throw down the big watts at the end. It's going to be interesting to see what bike he's on, because we have seen the gravel bikes a lot of times take out the sprints. If somebody does make it to the line with Bevan, will they be able to take him down, as he has got a massive just wattage cottage, as you would call it.
Yeah, when you think about these epic throwdowns we've had between Kolchinski and the ultimate victor Reznikov on the women's side of things, that exactly what Nathan is talking about, that gravel bike versus the mountain bike, comes into play. But taking a look at some of the guys, so you mentioned James Bevan, David Pacheco also has made this front group here. Nathan Gajda is here. The Scottish rider, Andrew Gajda, that certainly is a rider of note. Magnus Jagerman as well. So we got some big names. We started talking about James Hodges earlier. There's a field here with a lot of depth. I don't see anybody else. So as we make our way again today, 29 total K. It's going to be 3 laps out here in the jungle circuit. Nathan, and now we're jumping in with the women, and there you go. Charlotte Backus pressing the accelerator down on the floorboard, only 1.3 K in. I like her mindset today, Nathan.
Reznikov on the gravel bike. She's won 2 out of this, it looks like, and looking at to maybe make it happen again. She's done it with that final kick to the line. Her and Kolchinski going off the front over and over again. 2020 has shown up, it looks like, with a few bodies in the race here as well. Sisu, I raced like a girl, is in here with Johan, I can see. 2020, though, taking over at the front. Does look like we've got at least 3 of the turquoise and bright green there. It's going to be During, as well as Shayna Paulus and Franco out here today with 11 watts per kilogram. They are not following today. They're on the attack. It looks like they're changing up the tactic, and Shayna Paulus kicking out 9 watts per kilogram, looking to break things up early.
Good for you, Shayna. That's nice to see. You know, they've also got Lubke here. So this is going to be, again, 2020, looking to put on a command performance. This team is always on the threshold of greatness. There's no doubt about it. And at times they have, I mean, this is a team of world champions, Olympic medalists, their pedigree. I mean, when you talk about a decorated squad, that's 2020. They're also a big friend of Zwift, that's for sure. And here we go. Shayna Powell is trying to make the race. And look at this now. She's stringing out that group behind her, Nathan. So this is not going to be the move that wins the race, but it's going to put some riders in real trouble here.
I think this is the way to do it. Not play follow. Just go on the aggression, make them chase, make them burn matches while their teammates sit in. If you've got the teammates, you've got the strength in numbers, burn their matches early and let a rider sit in. And look, immediately, Franco to the front, 6 watts per kilogram. This is perfect tactics I'm seeing here from 2020 to at least change things up a little bit, because they've been following wheels the last couple of weeks and it hasn't played out for them. And I think going on the attack, this is the right tactic. See how the dice roll.
I mean, I don't know how many times, if you're an American sports fan, you've heard the good old adage, the best defense is a good offense. Well, it's true. And here we go. They're really proving that right now. So, again, we got a long way to go. 26 kilometers of racing ahead of us on these 3 laps out here on the jungle circuit, this gravel. Really, I mean, Nathan, I am really happy to see that Martin and Steven created this series with WTRL. This gravel racing it's just different enough to change the flavor a little bit. It's like going from French cuisine to Cajun cooking. This is going to be definitely hotting things up. It suits aggressive riders out here, really plays into the hand of riders who just want to get after it. A very intense, I'm going to say less than an hour here, but they are going to be throwing up some serious numbers.
Yeah, you can see in the upper right-hand corner, there is the mini-map. They are on a 3% uphill gradient on to they're doing the forward this week, forward jungle loop. They're just coming on to the climb, 2%, 3% gradient. Reese Barclay turning the screws at the front, 461 watts right now. Revel there from Tor to K. Callis. And I have a feeling this week, the level has been stepped up with quite a few additions here. Wildlife Generation, Ram Riders, seen Ram Rockets with Barclay, Rebel with Tor 2K Callis in here as well. Godser from Draft, he's been in a couple of weeks in a row, but definitely some new blood and some top talent jumping. I think Fleeman is in here as well, and I think we may see a very different race than we did in the past weeks because of this. And Barclay showing us exactly why, just going right to the front, putting the pressure on, 6+ watts per kilogram. Try and hang on because it's going to be, I think this is going to split things up pretty quickly on this first lap.
Yeah, the word is barrage, right? And that's what you're facing here. If you're just trying to sit in this group, trying to keep your TSS as low as possible, well, that's really hard to do when splits like this are opening up because you can't afford to play around here. You can't afford to sit back and hope that people can close down this gap. You got to be on the right side of these splits. And Nathan, this is a very dangerous moment here. Take a look from this perspective. Great job there producing, Nathan, because that really shows you Dan Fleeman, one of the strongest riders on the platform here, a former World Tour pro. I mean, this guy is a real heavy hitter, and you can see he's going to be one of the last bags they get on board here unless they're able to weld this whole thing back together, and it looks like they might be doing just that. That's going to be Alec Cowan. I was talking about Alec, the Canadian, earlier with Wildlife Generation. Both he and Jen Lubke won Stage 1 of the most recent Cascade Cycling Classic. That's a race in Oregon, one of the top 5 American stage races right now. There was one day, the first stage, that had a gravel segment, and it was really quite a day, actually. The dust kicked up when the men's peloton and the women's peloton hit that gravel sector, and when it was all appropriately done and dusted, it was Alec and Jen who won. So in real life, they know gravel, and they're certainly doing a good job out here. Let's pick up now what's happening. It looks like they are going to bring things back together a little bit, Nathan, but that's no longer 30 riders, and we've got 3 guys really hanging on by the skin of their teeth right now. They're going to get back in.
19, I think, have made this front group out of the 44 starters here at this point. And the other thing about this here that I just noticed, a few of the riders, the Tron bike is still in here. I'm seeing some of these riders did not get the memo. They jumped in, they saw the quality of field. I think they're like, oh, this looks like a good race. This is going to be awesome. It looks like it's going to be broadcast. We're on the jungle circuit, and it looks like Cohen may not have selected a mountain bike and is still hanging tough here, it looks like, on... It looks like he's got regular old Zip 404s actually on. An original Zwift bike there. I'm also seeing from one other, obviously the Tron bike, and I think there's one other rider who has actually made this group just barely, not on a gravel or a mountain bike. So interesting enough to see. We'll see if they can hang on all the way to the end. But they are putting out a huge effort to hang with this group as they push on this first lap. Only 12 minutes in, 19 riders, half the field separated at this point.
Interesting. It really is when you again, Alec, you were mentioning the bike that he has shows. What level Zwifter is he? I mean, he's got to be really new to this, and I could absolutely understand how, if you're not following along closely here, you could easily miss that memo. And you think, I've raced with these guys a few times. Every time I've used this same bike, he hasn't been as intimately familiar with Zwift, I'm going to guess. It's interesting when you see, I mean, there's some of the riders, some of the very young riders. I was thinking back to some of the races we've done earlier this year who've been, like you, Nathan, they've been in their Club Jarvis guys, where there's plenty of in real life heavy hitters who really hadn't Zwifted before the COVID period. I have a feeling Alec is one of them.
Yeah, and it's going to be a tough day, I think, here for Alec. The reality of trying to ride this course on that bike is, I believe it's going to be a solid 1 to 2 watts per kilogram that's going to have to be pushed out. It's going to have to sit in a lot, close down gaps, and it's just going to be very, very difficult day when it comes down to the pressure moments. No margin
no margin for error. Yeah, right. So there you look at a guy who's got the right bike, who I'm expecting a top 5 from today. That's Gajda, Nathan, the Scottish rider there, right in the middle of the group, right where you want to be. Nathan, one of the things I learned from you very early on is the rider, and this is where the Zwift platform is fascinating. You would think, oh, it's got to be pretty straight ahead, right? The rider who does the most work is going to win 99% of the time. Nathan talked to me about how untrue that is because, I mean, almost every time that you look at the results and see how many watts per kilo the riders were making throughout the race, it's not the rider who made the most power. It's the rider who is the smartest about when they made the power.
A lot of smarts going to have to go into being a part of that race, though, still, when they're on that bike. So we'll see what he can pull off being newer to the platform. You were asking, what level is Alec Cohen?
I'm going to guess
14.
he's less than 10. 14,
He's level
okay.
14, 1 day, 15 hours, 1,353 kilometers, solid 11,000 elevation. Almost 100 pizza slices there, Alec. Let's get it going. He's going to burn 3 more, maybe, it looks like, out here today. So coming out of Canada, currently 10.6 kilometers in. Or out on that smart trainer, it looks like here, according to the companion app. If you want to check out all those stats, you can head on over to Zwiftpower. Also, you can download the companion app and you get all that information. We're looking at Kolchinsky, though. She has been on a freight train lately, always on the attack on the first climb. It looks like Reznikov and Paulus following closely. For Team 2020, Franco, not Natalia Franco, she definitely was on the attack early on. During now, just trying to hang on, it looks like here at this point. Lubke, where is Lubke?
She was right there, actually.
Off.
All three, I think, have made that group when you talk about 2020 because that's going to be Franco, Paulus, and Lubke, correct? I think so.
I'm not seeing Lubke. I'm not sure she's in the race out here today. I'm only seeing 3 jerseys. Maybe she's fallen off here.
Oh, it is 3. It is 3. You're correct. Okay, so one thing I would say certainly is if you're wondering what just happened to this bike race, well, it just got Kolchinsky'd again. She has been an animator out here. Reznikov is with her. Nathan, will it be 3 weeks in a row of the same show here? Because that's been the story. They're doing it again right in front of our eyes. So fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. We're getting into the 3rd time with this, but this time it's going to be Shayna Paulus is saying this train is not leaving the station without me on board. So Paulus is latching on there. Great job, Shayna. So that's the game changer here. It looks like RC getting up there as well. Klein, Carly Johan. Jasmine During was the 3rd rider there that I was misidentifying. I apologize. The Olympic bronze medal winner, the Canadian there for 2020 as well. Franco, the Colombian on that 2020 team. We're sorting this one out quite quickly here, Nathan.
Yeah, and it does look like it's going to be down to 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be about 9 riders, I believe, here. Looking at the count, 4 are trying to separate. 5 on
Correct.
the chase here at this point. And Reznikov, Paulus looking to hang on to Reznikov. Knows the wheel to follow as Reznikov now goes over to the top of Kolchinsky. It looks like here. Kolchinsky trying to hang. Not trying to hang on. I think they're working together because they have made the split each and every race so far under this 3rd race here. Now Paulus hanging on smart. Knows the wheels to follow, as we said here. Aker, though, newer to the world, to the situation, it looks like here. Making a solid move. And coming out of Portugal with During from 2020, also able to stay involved. Now Klein hanging on the back, coming out of the Netherlands, 183 beats per minute, though. Looks like the heart rate, though, is right at those final moments of are you going to pop? Can you hang on? Depending on the max heart rate, though, but you can kind of tell sometimes with the way that it flutters around. And 183, that's a pretty high heart rate. Not many people have a max heart rate much higher than those high 180s.
Yeah, that's about the limit. So we're looking again. Relentless is a great word to describe Kristen Kolchinsky here. And, when you look at it, I mean, so she is an amazing jeweler in real life. That's not quite hammer and tongs. That's more of a blacksmith that she's like right now, just wailing away on the hot iron here. But now you're seeing that surge coming, and this is the gameplay that I love to see. Natalia Franco is making a move. Shayna Paulus is up there. So 2020, it's not going to lay down today. It's a whole different bike race, isn't it, Nathan, at this point? I think that in the last couple of weeks, we've watched Reznikov, along with Kolchinsky, really take advantage of just brute force out there. Today is Carly Johan, the Sisu. I Race Like a Girl. She's up in the mix. It's a much better day for Carly here as well. All right, Nathan, I like the narrative that we're seeing here. There's a lot more riders who are keeping an iron in the fire today.
And it is going to be 3 from 2020. This has been the story. Can they hang on with the community teams? And are they going? They've been showing up specifically to this race. And I know I'm really focusing in on that, but they have been trying to crack the code, as you would say, Dave. They've been trying to figure out how to take down the two giants that have been Kolchinsky and Reznikov in this race for the past 2 weeks. Will they make it happen on this third week? They're hung on, it looks like, a little bit longer with 3 riders this time around. So they still got enough riders in here to maybe make the moves and maybe start being on the attack a little bit longer. But have they been put on the back foot? Were they put on the ropes a little bit there with that climbing? Like, whoa, we might have burned too many matches here because they still had something in the tank. Or will they give it another go with those tactics?
Well, and the reason, Nathan, that so many of the riders do this is they've got that competitive spirit that and you really can't satiate that in any other way than getting out and racing. So when you talk about Kristen Kolchinsky, she's a rider that is relatively new. We talked about her being the rookie of the month. There she is right now. You can see her in the black. Now, she has shown an unbelievable ability level. But she's going up against Antonina Reznikov, an Israeli former professional triathlete, now a mom of 2, but clearly she's just got Olympic gold medal DNA. Let's be honest. She's one of those type of people that is just at the very highest level. So for Kolchinsky, it's been really, talk about going to school. I mean, go racing with Reznikov the last 2 weeks in our WTRL series. Reznikov has shown her basically what a professional is all about in the last 500 meters, right? She's punched her ticket. But there's going to be the day that Kolchinsky, it's a master and a pupil type of thing. And there's going to be a day where Kolchinsky gets it all right. She's shown that she has the heart. The other thing to really add in here is that you've got riders like Natalia Franco, this Colombian who's represented Colombia on the international stage. That's a huge deal. And also now, a cornerstone of this 2020 program. Jokingly, I thought it was actually one of my favorite moments on Zwift when we found out that she, for fun, with some friends, had entered her weight in at 75 kilograms just to see what that felt like, Nathan. And then it didn't get changed before the race a few weeks ago. That's a mistake you only make once. But her attitude is the best. This is the kind of athlete that it's easy to get behind and support. There's no doubt about it.
Quick little shout out here to Natalie Stevenson, though. Some of these riders, we definitely want to put
Scottish
in the limelight.
rider.
Yeah, Scottish rider here. She's currently, it looks like, from what I can see, 305th ranking in the ranking points, actually, over on Zwift. It looks pro endurance coach, and this is actually her first go at the WTRL Gravel Series, but she does do the Premier League. In the WTRL TTT, as well as did Zone 4 with a solid third place, it looks like, I believe, in last week, or the week before, actually. So qualifying 2 weeks ago. So good to see Natalie Stevenson making this front group, and welcome to the Gravel Series. Definitely some new faces. Klein as well.
I was just going to say, Linda Klein. Yeah, Nathan, thanks for catching that. I was just noticing as well, Linda Klein is a rider that I'm going to be paying a lot more attention to, the Dutch rider that's been sitting comfortably up in this group. I have to be honest with you, Nathan. There's not a week that goes by that I don't have a rider that comes out and impresses me on this platform. So I see Charlotte Backus is hanging in there. Is Charlotte in this front group or chasing? She's chasing. So there's 42 seconds back.
This is the situation. That was the lead group. There's a chase group now with Backus. It looks like Collins from Draft and Baltes here from Cryo RDT, the teammate there of Stevenson, making this chase here. But it is 43 seconds. It's off the front now at this point with this breakaway. So I do not think that they're going to be bringing these 9 riders back at any time soon. They're going to work well together, and 3 jerseys from 2020 in there. Race Like a Girl has made it with Johan there, Sisu, Kolchinsky, obviously, during Paulus, and then it will be Reznikov in there. So interesting to see how this is going to play out. Natalie Franco now making her way to the front. So that's the situation at the front of the race least in the women's race. Back in the men's race, though, they are on the climb, and there's some attacks taking place. It was just a moment ago Matt Blue from Ram Racing that was on the attack of the 6 watts per kilogram as they went through the second half here. Reese was at the bottom of the first time up the climb, made the move, but it looks like he maybe got a little bit of smarts, maybe was waiting for some matches to be burned and pushing 9 watts per kilogram over the top here. This is the moment to go. When everybody gets a little bit tired, when you know they're up into that threshold, they're maybe even to VO2 max at that point, they're into that only can handle it for 1 or 2 minutes. They've already put everything on the line, and if you got something left, that's when you put on the attack. You can really gain some speed in the downhills, and he has opened up a huge gap. We'll see if anybody can come across or if they're just going to shut it down as a group.
In order to win, you have to risk losing, and I love this attack from Barclay right here as he goes past 17 kilometers into this 29-kilometer race. They're a little over halfway through the second lap, so really moving into really the final third of this race. This is a massive attack right now that we're looking at from Barclay. And look at the group now, Nathan. That's certainly not 20 anymore. It looks more like a dozen riders. It's going to come back together. We'll hit the reset button here one more time, but the Ram Rockets are going to see a counterattack going up and over the top here now, Nathan. Here we go. These guys are really having at it. It's turning into a melee out here.
Nico, Ram Raiders now up and over the top, it looks like here. Cohen trying to come across, and 6.4 watts per kilogram here coming from Nico out of Great Britain. Mannert out, it looks like covering things, and Gaja sees this as a moment here from Draft. You were speaking about him maybe being able to grab on the podium. Looks like he's just positioning himself well, thinking, no, this is going to come back together. Fleeman, very experienced rider there, obviously.
Even better. He doesn't waste a match. I mean, I like that, Nathan. That's a smart rider right there. No reason to do all the work, as we've said before.
Look at this.
Oh, wow, look at this. Bevan, huh? Wow, James Bevan hitting out with authority now.
Off the back, though. Off the back. Bevan is in a chase at this point. He is in 16th place. This is a huge stunner. And was it the climb? Was it the pace that was set early on? What was the situation? The bike? No, he's on a Canyon Grail, looks like. So interesting to see. Bevan, uninvolved here. We'll have to get some updates on what is going on here, but that is definitely a first.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm shouting about him attacking out of the group, Nathan, because I've never seen anything but that. So I apologize. That's a bad call, but an interesting moment in the race. It shows you even the giants will struggle out on a course like this. Although, Nathan, from what I've seen in the past, that must be something like a power dropout, something like that.
Yeah,
it's shocking.
Perhaps a power dropout or just some little of an inattentiveness. I mean, it's different to close down gaps on this course. Maybe the course not suiting him. I'm not sure. That's very interesting to see.
We'll find out.
Usually, perhaps to break the sprinters. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here, and if we get some information.
Yeah, one of the great things about social media is you usually get an answer to these questions about half an hour after the race. But so we'll find out if we can update you on that. But here we go. 2 riders going clear again. These guys are now under or just at 10K to go. So these moves get a little more dangerous at this point.
Yeah, we have a rider coming across. It looks like it's going to be Nico off the front. C. Revel is there with him to Callis. So 6 watts per kilogram. Fleeman sitting in 3.8. A little bit too much trust maybe here because the rolling snowball move that happens, it does snowball speed, but it's not quite as much on the dirt. And it looks like the attack is on the front. I've had riders roll away from me many times through this section specifically because I was trusting the way that the downhill would carry the group speed and snowball, but it does not snowball quite as much on the dirt. And you can see they're taking advantage of that with the speed. Only 1 lap to go.
It really suits the aggressive rider, doesn't it, Nathan? I mean, there's a lot of factors out here. And there you go. The guy's maybe even hearing your commentary as Barclay does not want to wait around. He realizes that the snowballing effect that we talk about so much on this platform, really, it looks like the strongmen are going to have to get some work done themselves. Is again, hammer and tongs right now. This man turning into a massive wattage making machine. He's going to get a little bit of help, and that's it. It's going to be this is going to really be interesting, Nathan. What is this going to do? I doubt we see that group together as it was before.
Yeah, it does look like it is splitting things. And looking behind here, 2 seconds back to Crane from Shift Pacheco. Deepak, that's unexpected. falling off a little bit and trying to find a wheel. 170 beats per minute, up in 8 watts per kilogram, giving a little bit of a kick. See if you can get back to the group here. And I think the mountain bikes are the ones who are looking to try and break things apart because they can get some consistency going with their speed. They travel a little bit faster over time on the dirt. The pickup, though, from the gravel bikes in a sprint is much faster. So, you're going to get a much faster 0 to 60 kind of a situation versus a consistency of just a steady speed on the mountain bike. The mountain bike just has a better steady speed, but the pickup, the acceleration from that gravel bike is going to be a little bit quicker. So, it looks like they're trying to break the gravel bikes off the back here and try and get a breakaway of a few mountain bikes to try and carry that speed on through as they head into their final lap.
I'm a little surprised this all did come back together, as it is a little bit of a reprieve for some of the guys that were getting caught back in that second group. But still, you can see Pacheco just needs to get up back into the group here, and then we can hit the reset button, and there you go. So as they now are down to 8 kilometers of racing, can't afford to make any more moves like that out there. And here we go, Reznikov and Kolchinsky back at it. It's the same show again, Nathan. A command performance from these two. Now, the gap nowhere near as large as it has been, but are we starting to watch the rift opening up here? Maybe not. Looks like they're fighting back. Arche here.
Well, last week, right around the same place, they made this move, and with about a lap to go, they were able to break away. It does look like Arche, along with Paulus, able to close things down. Johan with Sisu, I Race Like a Girl. There may be enough bodies in here to work together. Paulus, it looks like, going away. Franco just following, as well as Durin. If they can get more bodies across, they should, though, because the reality is that having more 2020 jerseys in a breakaway like this on this course specifically does look like Paulus has some help, though, with the Portuguese rider here. 188 beats per minute here coming from Arche. So with this other rider in tow, it's going to be a little bit easier day, I think, for Paulus. But Kolchinsky not giving up, knowing that she's not quite on the wheel just as of yet. Reznikov just sitting in, waiting for the classic sprint we've seen her do each and every week.
Wow. Well, look at the flags that we've got up here now. So the American Kolchinsky, along with Shayna Paulus, representing the East and the West Coast. Reznikov, the Israeli rider, and I believe that's Argentina that we're looking at for Arche there. As we now take, let's see, are these 4 going clear? Oh, no.
Like
there you go, Nathan. You found it.
Yeah, James Bevan saying he's got back problems out there today. Sorry to hear, James. Heal up, buddy. I've been there before. It's almost impossible. You would think, a lot of people are like, oh, it's all legs. No, you use the lower back a lot when it comes to cycling. You are pushing out, if anything back related whatsoever, is almost always going to kill any kind of power you have in any, especially in the lower parts of the body and extremities. So heal up quickly, and sorry to hear that. We also see in a couple of comments coming on in from Harry Stevenson, very well-known racer in the community in the last season or so. He's letting us know that he hated this course until he realized that the mountain bike was the go-to bike. Speaking from experience there in some of the pretty high-end racing, actually, from Harry Stevenson. So good to see him jumping in with the comments and letting everybody know the mountain bike, the way to go. But Reznikov's been proving us otherwise, as she's been winning that sprint, but you got to be able to hang
gravel,
on.
Right.
Yeah, with that gravel bike.
Yeah, and here you go, 3 mountain bikes, and as Nathan said, 1 gravel there with Reznikov. So she has been untouchable out here in this format. The closest has been Kolchinsky. The real difference here is we've got 2 other riders with them. It'll be fun to watch how that factors in out here as they're getting down to it now, the business end. This is the first time, Nathan, in this is the 3rd in the series of gravel races with WTRL that we've seen 4 riders together this late in the race. And it looked like, as we go back, is this the vanguard, the front of the race, Alec Cohen? Still?
It is Cohen.
Good.
Cohen. And
Good
I'm
for
wondering
him.
if we have something on our end here where we are seeing locally on the client not the correct bike. I'm going to double check here real quickly and see it. It'll tell me on the companion app what he is actually using, or he is just
he's strong enough.
Strong.
He is insanely strong. I can absolutely. He's at the Wildlife Generation training camp in Malibu. this it seems like a lifetime ago. He was shocking everybody. And this was a time when Geraint Thomas, Luke Rowe were all out riding around Malibu. Alec Cowan was getting up the climbs as fast as anybody in California at that point. So, yeah, absolutely. If there's one guy, Nathan, in this group that can do it on a road bike, it would be Alec, although he's got to be a little bit weary because of that choice. No doubt about it. He's got to be wishing he'd had that mountain bike out of the garage today.
Dan Fleeman on the attack here, giving it a go. It looks like he's going to get a solid 7. He's up to 5 seconds here. This was a coordinated attack. He waited for the right moment here. He saved a ton of energy, I think, specifically. We haven't seen him stick his nose in the wind, I don't think, at all until this point. He's been at about 4.8 watts per kilogram comparatively to the rest of the pack. That is pretty much the lowest watts per kilogram amongst those have made it. 4 or 5 there coming from Andrew Godge. I'm seeing Pacheco as well as kind of been sitting at the back. But from those who've been covering the moves, he is the lowest watts per kilogram that's really been involved toward the front of the race here. So solid move here from Fleeman. He's been waiting for this moment.
That's World Tour savvy right there, Nathan. I mean, he just knows exactly where to be when, and if there's one guy that I would trust his instincts more than anybody else on this platform, it would be Fleeman. So here we go. As we watch that gap starting to grow, and now you see the damage is being done back there. It's blowing the chase to bits here. We got ourselves a OSS situation going on now. This is going to be Sundstrom here leading the chase, but Fleeman is going to really put them into the deep, dark pain cave, and I don't know if they've got a flashlight to find their way out here today because we're going inside of 5K to go, and Fleeman has hit out with authority here, Nathan. This is going to be, if this one doesn't win it, this is the attack that defines the race today. Dan Fleeman, just a human rocket ship right now.
Sundstrom trying to come across. It looks like he's going to drag Van Breda from WTRL from the world of the Netherlands here. And it's going to be Revel, Baker on the wheel there. Cohen, Wildlife Generation just hanging on. 2 more riders in tow, Matt Blue, and then it's going to be Nico. But it looks like Maynard is off the back with Jay Crane. Where is Reese Barclay? Was it just done? Did he disconnect?
Did those efforts just...
No, he's here. He has made it. My mistake. So still involved here, and definitely want to watch out for the win out here today. But it's going to be Fleeman still with 3 seconds. I think he's going to maybe throw in the towel on this. It's not, the continuance may still break things if they give up, but there's enough bodies behind. I think they'll be able to work together, take the load, take a shared load of closing this down. But 1, 2, 3 riders actually, so they've actually made some separation. There's light at the end of the tunnel to make this a breakaway.
He split the
for
group.
4 riders. They've completely split it. Barclay now bringing them across.
Yeah, I mean, Fleeman will reload here, and I would imagine he'll just jump right in with the rotation, and that will take that group of what I think was 9 down to 4 on the front here. So Dan Fleeman, the difference maker here at this point. We talked about Sundstrom, Van Breda, Revel. These are the guys that look like they're going to catch the final train from the station. Look at that. This is quite a race as they come up over that suspension bridge. This is going to tell us a lot as we're inside of 4K to go at this point. Oh, it's going to be touch and go, Nathan.
Cohen's perspective here, 2 seconds up. Are they going to work together and break things apart? Will they be able to actually have any... Is there any stamina left to pull through now at this point? Will they just make the chase and then back off? Now somebody in a Baker? Is that going to be Baker?
They might bring this back together. Holy
SK
moly.
Rye, interesting to see. That's an old school jersey, one of the first jerseys ever put in the game. So cool to see that being used here by the Ravka 1 VVA here. And they will bring it back together. Are we going to have a sprint finish?
Wow.
This has not
incredible.
been seen. Still a gap, though. It hasn't done. It's a race of meters sometimes, Dave, isn't it?
Absolutely is, Nathan. No question. And these are the hardest meters in the world to close. That last 10 that they're trying to shut down right now. So this is what it's all about as we come up on 3K to go. Nathan, we might see our first real group sprint here in our Gravel Series. That's still not a done deal. What's even more stunning is the fact that there's this many women still in contention. Today,
they brought
the
it
field's
back.
much larger, more depth.
Back
Yeah,
together.
no kidding. Reset this one? Are you kidding me? unbelievable effort out here today by the women. So Reznikov and Kolchinsky, who have been just destroying these fields, unable, even though they took out the 20-pound sledgehammer, Nathan, it is a really resilient group. And there's a good reason why Olympic bronze medal winner, Canadian Jasmine During, is continuing to lead the fight. And look at this. All of a sudden, 2020, they might just like their position
they've
right
got
now.
one to go, Dave. They got one to go at this point, but we're coming into the final meters here in the men's race. Just want to do a quick check-in with the women, though, as it was all coming back together with one to go. But on the men's side of things, a counterattack from Van Breda is off the front with 1 second, and the rest of the boys trying to make the chase. They burned a lot of matches bringing that all back together. This is a perfectly timed attack because he was the man that was on the back of that initial break. He was able to sit in. The others came across to them, and the moment the catch was made, boom, he hit off the front. It's only 1 second, though, and it looks like the continuance may not be there as they bring him back into the fold. We're up for a sprint, I think, here, unless there's another counterattack.
Well, I'm almost sure there will be, but again, I almost think it'll be covered again as well. There's so much horsepower here still in reserve. So Sundstrom, who has been phenomenal out here today, but Nathan, this last 30 seconds tells me that there's enough guys. So Fleeman, you can see he in the orange and the blue there for the Saris, the Pros Closet team. Yeah, I have a real strong feeling we're going to see this group go to the line, which is, to be honest, absolutely stunning to me. These races are almost always going to be won by a rider who's by themselves, showing the field a clean rear wheel. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case today here for the men. And actually, we'll see how the women shape up, but I think we'll bring this one all the way home now as these guys, as they say, when the horses can smell the barn, everything changes. Nathan, who's the best sprinter left in this group? And we start looking around. Did Alec Cowan make this group?
Yeah, he's in here. He is actually in here.
Unreal. That's your ride of the day. That's your ride of the day. Holy cow.
Fleeman's got a solid sprint, I believe. He's a very good all-arounder, but I think I've gone to the line with Revel actually in a race and got demolished. So I'd be watching out for Revel. Tour 2K Callis out of Canada. Definitely, I believe, if I'm not unfamiliar with that,
here we go.
Crit racer here. So we'll have to wait and see what ends up happening with Tour 2K Callis. Now, Roberta, he doesn't want a sprint finish. He keeps on kicking off the front here. 7.3. Matt Blue now looking to close it down. We're into the final 1,500 meters to the line.
Volendam, the team for Rick Van Breda, the rider in yellow. That's a super strong squad. WTRL, the World Tactical Racing League, is one of it's an amazing event we do every Thursday with the Team Time Show. This is an entirely different affair here, and you can see that these guys will not lay back. They don't want to sprint. Those that don't want to sprint are attacking now, but it looks like here we go. The big windup, Nathan, brings us to this point right here, right now. It looks like we're down to about 7 riders with a shot here as they are now surging to the finish.
Barclay now leading things out. He doesn't want to put himself in the lane, though, too much. No stickers on the win. It's going to be Cohen, though. First one to go. Perhaps, no. They're all kind of looking at each other. It's a little bit of fake, but it's going to be just around the corner here. They're within 300 meters. Nobody's going just yet. Van Breda, the first one to kick. Orange numbers. No, he's off the back, actually. Fleeman now 7 watts per kilogram. Might be just the first one to kick to the line. The lead out here from Barclay, it's 5.7. They're just keeping the speed high enough, it looks like. But Cohen goes 9.7. That's not going to be enough. It's just going to be for a follow. It's going to be 16 watts per kilogram, 1,140 there from Barclay. Looking to come over the top. Where's Fleeman? Sundstrom coming flying from the back, but 17 watts per kilogram might be too late. Where's Sundstrom? Oh, there's the line, Barclay and Sundstrom. Where was Fleeman? He was nowhere to be seen. That was right at the line. We'll have to wait and see how that ended up playing out. We're going to go back to the ladies, though, because they are just starting their climb, their final climb. But I believe it was Barclay who held on to the line there.
So Sundstrom, Barclay. I'm thinking it was Sundstrom, Barclay, and Fleeman.
Take a look.
I thought Sundstrom had it there. We will, while we're sorting.
100% correct, it looks like. We'll bring in the results here.
Okay, good. We'll check that.
Yeah. It does look
all right. Wow, that was fun to watch, though. Nathan, this is unbelievable to look at now. The front of the bike race now, the Tête de la Course, that's going to be Reznikov in the white jersey. Kolchinsky, second wheel there in the black. These are the two most dangerous riders that we've got right now on the jungle circuit. They, as you just saw the finish for the men's A field, we do have the B, C's, and D's out racing today as well, but the women now making it into their finale. So we've got a nice bit of time to spend with them here. Great job on the producing today, Nathan. Always impressed. So we're going to be picking up again. How do you beat Reznikov, right? One thing's for sure. You're going to have to just keep trying different things out here. This is an entirely different day. But right now, Nathan, I got to think that Reznikov, and that's going to be Antonina Reznikov, the Israeli athlete racing for PTZ, who comes in as your odds-on favorite. I don't see how anyone could deny that. She's proved herself over and over, riding on the front right now. But the big difference is you've got a cadre of 2020 riders here. Well, actually, let's be clear. You've got two 2020 riders with us here. It's going to be Franco and During that we've got. Carly Johan is here. Again,
Paulus has made it. During's off the back here at 49 seconds.
I apologize.
Paulus is at the front here, it looks like. So two 2020ers. Very different situation than the past couple of weeks where it's just been Kolchinsky and Reznikov off the front. Being as it is, this is going to be a very different type sprint because the setup is going to be much more difficult. It isn't just a kick against one other rider and kind of playing those cat and mouse games. It's going to be following wheels and making sure that you're not the lead out or, getting caught at the line the wrong second. I mean, this is going to be a very different situation unless there's a breakaway before the finish. But with the downhill into the finish line, I don't think that's happening. Reznikov is going to have her work cut out for her up against the 2020 as well as Cryo RDT. Johan, these are riders that have not been involved recently in a sprint with her, so we'll have to wait and see how it ends up playing out with this new blood amongst this sprint out on the Gravel Series. The gravel bike does have that kick, but maybe somebody goes early.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting when you say, well, how is Reznikov as a sprinter, right? Triathletes, that's not normally something that they have in their quiver because they don't need it. They're going to be endurance athletes much more than sprinters. But Reznikov hasn't even let it become an issue. That's how strong she's been, right? I mean, it doesn't matter how good of a sprinter you are if they never even are there with you at the finish line. And that sort of has been, I think, the mindset that she's had. There's definitely going to be one blistering Reznikov attack coming. In the past, only one rider's been able to go with her. That would be Kolchinsky. Today, let's see. Is it going to be different? I think you're really looking at a resolute Shayna Paulus out here today. I just feel, just through my TV screen or my monitor here, that Paulus has got a motivation going on out here. There's a pride level. Shayna comes from a mountain biking background. She was one of the original NICA kids. She and her brother, world champion Kate Courtney, world mountain bike champion Kate Courtney, all rode together there in Northern California. That helped, it goes back further than them. They would have been just in grade school or even younger than that when it all started, but they definitely were part of a movement of getting kids on bikes. And it's hard to go against Lakotas here, Nathan, isn't it? Reznikov for the win with the gravel bike. I have to think there's a lot of people that would believe that.
Yeah, we've got a lot of comments coming on through here. We're hearing Chris Brown also coming in saying, go 2020. Sticking in the front group, go Shayna. Coming in from Chris Brown as well. Seeing Nicola saying they're trying to take them down, but they're just so strong. So loving to see all the comments coming in. Keep them coming. We absolutely love to feature everybody in the community that's hanging out in chat. As you were saying, though, the reality of this situation with Reznikov, I think, up against Kolchinsky in the past weeks, I think Kolchinsky is more of this threshold rider, more of just a steady pace, light climber type. And when it came to the line, there was just this punch that Reznikov has. That's going to be challenged, I think, by a rider like Paulus. I know Paulus has been doing a lot of strength training as well. I've seen a lot of that on her Instagram and some of her other social media spaces promoting what she's been up to. And that's going to also help with some strength. We'll see if she's got a solid sprint to the line here. I'm not sure that Natalia Franco is going to have the same kind of a sprint, although watts per kilogram are rewarded pretty well in Zwift. I have a feeling Paulus may be the better sprinter, but Natalia might be saying, hey, wait a second, I might prove you wrong with some Colombian power.
But yeah, that's what I love about these gravel races is it's really hard to figure out how your strengths play into the overall result on the day, or weaknesses for that matter. But one thing's for sure, there's the sloth. I love that guy. Does he have a name, Nathan?
He does, and I'm not. It's actually I've lost it for a
Unnamed.
second. I'm gonna have to get it. No, I'm gonna. There was this.
Oh, he does?
Definitely a
Okay.
name for it, and Nathan is just completely.
I put you on the spot. You
Put
know
me
what?
on
I
the spot with
apologize
that
for
one.
that. Yeah. Someone will chime in, I'm sure, on Twitter there for sure. So, well, its name is not Shayna. That's for sure.
Shayna
because Shayna
Paulus
is no
with a
sloth.
13.4 15 second. So out of the group, she has the best sprint.
By a lot. Yeah.
Reznikov at 10.7. So Shayna Paulus can throw down a solid 820 watts for that amount of time. We'll see what can throw down here. I think Paulus, this is the setup. Get 2020 involved in the final here. And they're probably yelling at me right now. Nathan, why did you release that information here? And that's a part of the Zwift world. Anybody can see it. The racers might even be looking at it going, okay, what has Paulus done up to this point as well? She's been at about 4.3 watts per kilogram. She's been waiting for this moment, I believe, out of all of these riders. Marina Arte out of Portugal, coming from SA Pro Team. That is a rider to watch out for, perhaps. 11.7. This is a kind of a wild card a little bit here. Dark horse amongst the riders here. Not expected here from Marina Arte. Interesting to see. She took a win.
Yeah.
3-hour Watopi Hilly race.
But I am really wondering now what is going on. So Reznikov's sitting on the back, Kolchinsky right next to her. Are these two waiting to just unleash a firestorm here? It's definitely, it's not that they can't. I think that they're being judicious out here, but this is really, really a different scenario than anything we've seen before. All right, folks, we are locked and loaded. This is not a drill. This is as good as it gets. We've got some of the strongest women in the world now. And Nathan, let's bring this one home because we're into the final, I'm going to say about 500 meters here.
Yeah, and they really leave it to the last moment for that final kick, and it is going to
It's going to be a real sprint. This is going to be a real sprint.
Franco might be setting things up. Franco might just make it fast enough to make sure nobody can come around. Now Kolchinsky with the early move does not want a pure sprint. She's just going to try and get away from the rest of the riders at 8.6 watts per kilogram. See if anybody actually covers it.
Reznikov responds.
Comes across. Paulus is following. She's playing it very smart. They get a
Numbers
distance. They
red,
got a gap here
red.
at Nesto. Paulus needs to come over the top. Reznikov goes very, very early. It looks like Reznikov has a gap. Where's Paulus? Is Paulus going to come through? She's waiting for the last final moment.
Coming.
It might be too late. Is she going to be able to make it happen? There's still 100 meters to go to the line. 11.3 watts per kilogram. Paulus might be able to pull it off. 20 players been looking for this. She might just make it happen. It's going to be Shayna Paulus at the line. 2020 finally cracks the code here, Dave, and Paulus makes it happen.
And boom, boom, out go the lights. 2020 gets the top step. They get all the chocolates today, Nathan. Reznikov, oh, man. So I tell you what, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And a silver medal today for Reznikov. And I think, Nathan, was it Kolchinsky in for third? We will see. It might have been Carly Johan getting up there. We'll find out. But that was, again, a day for Shayna Paulus.
Yeah, really good moves there being made by Paulus, following the wheels correctly. That is for sure. Let's take a quick little look here at how this ended up playing out. The early move by Reznikov trying to get that. That's exactly what she did to Kolchinsky in the past as well. Kolchinsky, actually the lead out without that solid sprint, was just trying to make it this drag race, unable to do so. And there's Paulus over the top. She followed the wheels perfectly, waited until that last 200 meters. It was really a book, very, very, chalkboard,
textbook,
completely textbook. Textbook.
Yeah.
Chalkboards, blueprint.
Either way,
line there, and
I've heard it both ways. Yeah.
Dry erase board. it was perfectly done by Paulus there in 2020. It looks like Kolchinsky just maybe got the better of the rest of the riders there. We'll have to.
You know what it reminded me of? Nathan, your call, the surge in Laura Matson Co., right? Just the timing was absolutely impeccable today from Shayna Paulus. Again, that's why we have them race, right? When you looked at that at 1 lap to go, you're like, here we go again, Reznikov and Kolchinsky. Well, 2020 fought tooth and nail out there. That's what bike racing is all about. That's why this platform is such a blast. These women right now are in puddles of sweat around the globe. We had athletes competing on 4 different continents today in that women's race. Absolutely what it's all about. So thank you to all of the gladiators on Zwift out there today. Nathan? This gravel series, pure gold.
Let's take a quick look here. Also, the men's race that was really close, and we do have a replay from that. We missed earlier. So let's take a quick look how that ended up playing out here. It looks like Barclay that was trying to make that lead out situation happen. Early move by Cohen there. It looks like Cohen, but then it was going to be Barclay here, 16.5 watts per kilogram with that late move. And I saw this coming on like a freight train there. Sundstrom with 17 watts per kilogram. Look at him come through here, and Sundstrom nipping it just barely at the line, it looked like there. I mean, that was so close. Very, very close. From what we can see in the results, I believe it was like 0.04 seconds or something like that.
Wow.
Here.
And you got to give Nathan, talk about showing up at a gunfight with a knife. That would be Alec Cowan today. The Canadian doesn't have the right bike from the quiver, but man, what did we learn about him today? That guy is fierce. So that'll be a competitor to watch. Let's take a look, though, at your gold standard, Erland Sundstrom. Congratulations, says Reese Barclay ends up with silver, and Dan Fleeman, who animated quite a bit out there today, ending up with the bronze. The chocolate medal for fourth place going to Alec. Rick Van Breda in fifth, Charlie Revel in sixth, Adam Baker seventh, Matt Blue in eighth, Nico in ninth, and then Jonathan Crane, one of our Americans, in 10th. That's the A's.
Yeah, go ahead. And we're going to go ahead and look at the
Sure,
B's
you
and
bet.
the C's and the D category here as well. And it does look like Ben Shu from the Vikings team coming on through. It was a sprint.
See how I left that name for you?
Dylan Eddie coming on through in third place. This was a very close race. It looks like all the way up to sixth place. Seventh place, Simon Christie there, Philip McGowan. Then it's going to be Brian Holland and then Jason Shores. So that is your top 10. In the B category, and then in the C category, I'm not sure they crossed the line just yet, or the D category. So let's go and take a look at the ladies here. And look at that, Shayna Paulus getting a full 10th of a second over Antonina Reznikov at the line. Kristen Kolchinsky just able to hold off Marina Arte. Carly Johan, followed up by Natalie Stevenson. And then Natalia Franco, who put in some solid work for her teammate. Jasmine During rounded it out there for 8th place, taking down the No Women's Land actually out ahead of Linda Klein. And Charlotte Backus coming on in for the Soxer Watts Arrowed Unicorns. It looks like with the unicorn next to the name there. I love it when they throw those in.
Yeah, it's good to see a couple new names up there as well in that top 10 for the women today. And again, across the board, whether it was our A's, B's, C's, or D's for the men or the women's E category, the numbers are really growing. So it's good to see the word is getting out. This is great racing. Starting to feel like we're going to look to more of this style of racing in the future, Nathan, because it brings out the best in our competitors.
Yeah, it's definitely something that has been being worked on by a lot of the race organizers out there in the community. We've noticed WTRL jumping on it to try and make things super interesting and more tactics. We absolutely love it. We are seeing Nicole Cramner saying, finally, that they were able to pull it. I love the chat coming on. And if you're hanging out in chat and you didn't know, we're live on YouTube. If you're just tuning in, we're live on YouTube, Facebook. We're live on Twitch. Make sure to hit those follow buttons wherever you like to watch live streams. Turn on your notifications. You get a notification anytime that we do go live. Next up, we will see you for the WTRL TTT on Thursday. New announcements on the way, coming soon, just so everybody knows. Lots of work going on in the background right now for lots more events. And anything that does get scheduled ad hoc, we will let you know as soon as possible. But if you do turn on those notifications, you will be informed as soon as that live broadcast is scheduled. You get a little notification saying Zwift Community Live is planning on going live at this time. Then you will know for sure. So that's the best way right now to get that information. Otherwise, a new calendar is on its way. Just as a heads up, everybody. So be on the watch out for a very extensive calendar on its way. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Dave, that was a lot of fun. And as always, everybody.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. Great job to racers. Thanks a lot to viewers. Right on.